Well, if you can believe it, in a week's time, it will be Christmas morning, and we've got your forecast to get you right out to that date. But let's start here with our long ranger with the snow squalls. Cold air moves in today and Saturday. Snow squalls are in the forecast. Temperatures start to bump back up into Sunday and Monday. And Monday, well, another system comes through. A fall system, though, not winter. No, it's going to be bringing us in some rain showers. You can see temperatures here. It's going to be warm enough to rain, that's for sure. We're looking at temperatures in through southern Ontario into Monday at around 7 to 8 degrees. Even 9 down in London and Windsor. So the city of Toronto at 8. Tuesday, the sunshine comes back out, but 5 degrees for the city of Toronto. Now, that's not the end of active weather as we look ahead into next week. Wednesday, look at this system here. Pretty widespread. It is going to be bringing some snow well into northwestern Ontario, but even places like the eastern shores of Georgian Bay, eastern Superior as well, even getting back into the rain. So any snow that you do see with these snow squalls, this is not guaranteeing you a white Christmas. No. Wednesday, that's when that widespread system comes through. You can see 10 degrees into Wednesday. Now, Christmas Eve is Thursday, a daytime high of 8 degrees with the sunshine. You can almost golf in that weather here. And then Friday, a daytime high of 7. That is Christmas Day. So any chance we see of a white Christmas, certainly not in our forecast. You can expect a green one. All right. Hey, Kevin, thanks for that. And a good morning to you as well. Thanks so much for making the Weather Network a part of your Friday. If you can believe it, in exactly a week right now, it will be Christmas morning. Yeah. Are you ready yet? Okay, let's get into your headlines. Snow squall setup, a cold weekend ahead, and the Friday drive. We'll show you some traffic cameras coming up in a second here. But first, current conditions. Okay, it's 7:04 a.m. It's 2 degrees in the city of Toronto. This is some of the coldest air we've experienced yet this season. December has just been so mild for us. So today and into Saturday, the winter jacket comes out. You'll probably feel more comfortable if you put gloves on. Those sorts of things coming back into play here. Now you can see westerly winds as these cold surface winds travel across the relatively warm Great Lakes. What happens here is it creates a cloud. That cloud becomes heavy and then it snows out. And that's exactly what's happening along the eastern shores of Superior and now Georgian Bay. You can see the snow squall warnings. They've been extended now up to Chapleau. And also the watch continues along the eastern side of Georgian Bay and also along the Bruce Peninsula as well. So these westerly winds here, they continue, and that's going to bring up the snow. And the snow here, we're almost going to see 3 bands of it. One will continue along Georgian Bay, another one along Huron, and then also down towards the Niagara region as well. So if you have travel plans through these regions, well, today and Saturday, we could be seeing some treacherous travel, especially along the 400 and Highway 11. We know what happens here when we get into a snow situation. Well, it's an exciting Friday here at the Weather Network because if you follow us on Instagram, you would know all you have to do is tag us in a picture of your weather, use the hashtag #SingYourWeather, and all the believers out there, well, you could win a Justin Bieber prize pack, and that's exactly where you can find us on Instagram. All right, let's share your weather here. This one, Beachburg, Ontario. Bev sends us this one, December the 17th, a week to Christmas. Yeah, right now, in a week, it will be Christmas morning. Certainly not feeling like it's so much in through southern Ontario, but snow squalls are the story. Details are coming up here. Labrador City, Brent sends us this one. Hey, that looks a little bit more like Christmas. And I think this is one of my favorite Christmas scenes. Look at this. Oh, winter is certainly going to come to Blue Mountain, and we could see it this weekend with the snow squalls. We could even see winter starting to fire up today, and we're going to have all those details ahead here at the Weather Network. But first, it's Friday. This time next week, it'll be Christmas Day. So let's talk about some weekend plans here to get you into the spirit. We have Santa Fest going on in Bracebridge. Have you been to Santa's Village in Bracebridge? A great place to be, but I want to warn you, if you are headed to this event this weekend, kicks off December the 19th, snow squalls may be greeting you on your route, especially up the 400 and Highway 11. We are very likely to see them today and into Saturday, so just a heads up on this one. Now, it's reindeer weekend in Burlington. Less snow here, of course, but Santa's reindeer, yeah, they're taking the weekend off. They're headed to the Royal Botanical Gardens, so also a great event to check out. And also Riverside Park in Guelph. Sparkles in the park. You will have to dress for the elements for this one. It's a nighttime event. Beautiful scenes like this one here, but it's going to be cold. Yeah, we're looking at the wind chill coming back into play this weekend. Now, before I leave you here, I want to talk about the snow squalls, because snow squalls are certainly going to be an issue today. We have watches and warnings in place up through the eastern shores of Superior and Georgian Bay, and it is likely that we could see through Friday and Saturday some of these snow squalls head into the GTA. We're not going to be talking about accumulating snow, but for the rush hour drive home tonight, only 2 degrees in the city of Toronto, enough to see some slippery road conditions. Now, your local forecast. Yeah, the lake effect machine did this here to Elliott Lake, Ontario. Leslie sent us this picture yesterday, and today a little bit more power, especially in places like Huntsville, in Midland. Barrie could see a dusting of snow as well, and we're going to be breaking down all of these details. We'll talk about the snow squall setup here. Also, a cold weekend ahead, some of the coldest air of the season, and we're looking at problems right now. A crash on the QEW eastbound at Bronte. I'll quickly show you this one here. Unfortunately, all right, let's talk about the weather here. It is 7:35 a.m. A good morning to you and happy Friday. It is 2 degrees in the city of Toronto. It's 0 up in Barrie. And you can see here the radar behind. See that blue? These are the snow squalls that are setting up. And as we look at these squalls with the westerly wind here, this here, the cold surface air that travels across the relatively warm Great Lakes, and we get squalls. All right, Kevin, you're on the search for snow squalls this morning. I know it's a cold morning, but have you seen any snow? You got it, Kevin. It's some of the coldest air we felt yet this season. Now, I want to show you this. This is the current snow on the ground, and we always joke that we kind of live in a bubble here in southern Ontario. Look at this. Almost all Canadians across the country are dealing with some amounts of snow on the ground, but us here in the GTA, out to Ottawa as well, Quebec City. Yeah, we're in our little bubble. No snow, but that scene is about to change. Look, we're starting to see the snow squall machine fire up, especially the east side of Superior, the east side of Georgian Bay. Snow squall watches and warnings in place. All right, it's 7:44 a.m. It's 2 degrees in the city of Toronto. It's 0 in Barrie. And as we see these snow squalls progress throughout the day today, what's going to happen here, one band will set up on the east side of Georgian Bay, another one on Huron, and then also down towards the Niagara region as well. So if you're traveling through these regions, snow squalls are going to be a concern today. All right, out on the roads, lots of concerns this morning. Let me show you these scenes. About the potential, yes, what we could see here is a few of these bands start to shift further to the south and head in through southern Ontario, specifically the GTA. So around 4 to 8 p.m. tonight, that's where we could see some flakes in our region and out on the 400 series. Now your local forecast. I know we all have that threshold, right? Today I actually wore the bigger parka and put on the gloves as well. Some of the coldest air of the season, right? But it's seasonal. It's where we should be. We've just been used to this very mild December. Now let's look at this here. The morning headlines. The squall set up. Will the squalls affect us? Likely, yes, and we're going to break down these details. A cold weekend ahead and the Friday drive. We've been dealing with quite a few issues on the roads. The good news is a lot of them have cleared, and I'll show you them in a second. So it's 8:04 a.m. It's 2 degrees in the city of Toronto. It's -7 up in Timmins. We've seen the snow squalls on the east side of Superior. Now they're starting to fire up along the east side of Georgian Bay. What we're seeing is these westerly winds, a cold surface wind, and as this travels over the relatively warm Great Lakes, of course, we're not seeing really any ice cover on the Great Lakes. It's been so mild. This creates a cloud here, and then that cloud snows out, and that's exactly how we get lake effect snow. So we've been seeing the watches and the warnings. Now the warning has extended along the east side of Superior, and the watch in place now, the east side of Georgian Bay, the Bruce Peninsula included in this one. Now, how will the snow squalls affect us here in the city of Toronto and in the GTA? Well, it's likely what we could see as this wind travels over Huron. It's going to create snow in this region here, and some of the flurries, they could travel into the GTA around 4 to 8 p.m. tonight. So the rush hour drive home could be a little problematic with some snow. We're not talking about accumulating snow, though. Yeah, you got that for sure, Kevin. And as those winds become a little bit stronger, a little more due westerly, that's when we will really start to see places like Midland get into the snow squalls. Barrie snow for today as well. All right, the morning headlines, the squall setup. We will break down all those details coming up. Also, cold weekend ahead. This is some of the coldest air of the season. And rush hour in the GTA. We've been seeing quite a few issues out on the roads. Thankfully, those have cleared, but I'm going to show you just some of the slow spots coming up. All right, as we take a look at the radar here, you can see off Superior, certainly dealing with the squalls right now and just starting to fire up along the Georgian Bay. Why are we seeing this? Well, westerly winds. And as these winds travel across that open, that warm water, it creates a cloud and then it snows out. So the snow squall watches and warnings are in place. I'll tell you, the big bulk of the snow is north of the GTA. Yeah, absolutely. If you have travel plans this weekend to head up to Blue Mountain, Collingwood, get some skiing and snowboarding in, we could see about 20 centimeters of snow there today and into tomorrow, especially Saturday. Now look at this here. This is snow on the ground. Okay, look at our little bubble here in the GTA. Where's our snow? Yeah, we certainly aren't seeing it. Good news, though, because 100,000 people are planning to pass Pearson Airport today to get out and into their holiday travel. So snow is not going to be affecting Pearson. But where it will be affecting, well, that's up the 400 highway Highway 11 snow squall watches are in place right now along the east side of Georgian Bay. All right, 8:44 a.m. It's 2 degrees in the city of Toronto. It's 0 up in Barrie, -5 in Sudbury, and that's where we are seeing some of that lake effect snow. And we will continue to see this snow throughout the day today and into tomorrow. Now, the question is, will we see it here in the GTA, in the city of Toronto? Between 4 and 8 p.m. this afternoon and through this evening, I know, right through the rush hour drive home, that is likely what we will see some flurries in through the GTA. Not likely to stick and accumulate on the roadways, but dampen the roadway, maybe perhaps stick on some of the grass here, so we could see some icy and some slippery conditions, and certainly cold air. Now, if you're traveling out towards the Bruce Peninsula area, out to Orangeville, certainly snow squalls will be an issue up to Bracebridge or Huntsville, and also down into the Niagara region as well. All right, now you know everything you need to know on the snow squalls. Let me take you out onto the roads. A very good morning to you. It is Friday, December the 18th. Thanks so much for making the Weather Network a part of your day. I'm Rachel Schoutsen. Kevin Yard is on the outside here, but first, the morning headlines. The squall setup. Snow squalls will be problematic today through Ontario. Also, cold weekend ahead, and the Christmas countdown is on. Kevin, can you believe it? This time, in a week from now, it will be Christmas morning. Certainly doesn't feel like Christmas, though, does it? A green Christmas in the forecast. Oh, you're absolutely right, Kevin. The warmest December on record. That's what we've been seeing and experiencing. And as we look ahead now, well, of course, with these mild conditions, the Great Lakes are far from frozen. So as we get this cold surface wind, this cold westerly wind traveling across the Great Lakes, what it wants to do is it creates a cloud, and that cloud becomes heavy, and then it snows out. And that's exactly what we're going to see along the east side of Georgian Bay, along Huron as well, and down into the Niagara region too. So if you do have travel plans up the 400 Highway 11, maybe you're headed to the cottage this weekend, you could run into some very treacherous road conditions. For us here in southern Ontario, the GTA in specific, we are not going to be seeing accumulating snow, but between 4 and 8 p.m. tonight, this afternoon and into tonight, we could be seeing some snow, and that could be problematic for the rush hour drive home. And of course, today is the day. Yeah, we've all been waiting for this. Snow squalls finally firing up in the GTA. That's what you were thinking, right? Not Star Wars. It's funny when we look at this here. Snow on the ground, the current snow on the ground. In through southern Ontario, none. Canadians across the country have been dealing with snow. Look at this here, whether it's 30 centimeters of snow like we've seen out in the Atlantic, or just trace amounts like we've seen in Calgary. But for us here, that's about to change. Snow squalls are setting up. And for the Greater Toronto area in specific, it's not likely we'll see accumulating snow. But with this snow that's coming off Huron here at around 4 to 8 p.m. tonight, well, there is a big potential that we could be getting into some flurries here. So for the rush hour drive home, a heads up on this one. It could be a slow one. 2 degrees for the city of Toronto certainly is going to be cold enough to sort of see that wet, that rain snow mix. And we could even see flurries again into Saturday morning. Look at the cold, -3 in Toronto with the wind chill. Feels like -9. Okay, our long ranger and Doug, it's hard to believe that in 1 week from today, it will be Christmas Day. Doesn't feel like Christmas.
No, it sure doesn't. We have a mild pattern returning next week, and it looks like that mild pattern will continue all the way to New Year's.
Okay.
Also unsettled at times next week, but that it is not denied. This is not the pattern for the rest of the winter. We will see winter eventually as we get into January and especially February.
Okay, Doug, quickly I want to talk about this weekend. Saturday really could be the day for seeing some more snow squalls. Of course, today we've been covering this here on the Weather Network. Right. Snow squalls in the snowbelt region Saturday as well. Sunday, not a big chance of seeing that.
No, highlighting 15 to 30 centimeters of snow locally east of Georgian Bay, Lake Huron, also south of Buffalo, but just flurries for the GTA, but a cold day with a blustery west wind, high near 0. Of course, that's near seasonal, but the warm-up begins on Sunday. We'll see some sunshine. The lake effect will have shut down. As we go into early next week, windy and mild with rain. And look at these high temperatures.
Nothing you have to shovel. That's what Doug is saying here. Monday.
All the way up to 8 degrees in Toronto. Some of the models suggesting we could approach 10.
Okay. So as we fast forward here and take a look into Tuesday, drying out Tuesday, a touch cooler though, and then waiting for the next system.
Yeah, still mild even though it's cooler, and then quite warm on Wednesday with wind and rain, and that lingers into Christmas Eve morning. But that should get out of here and set the stage for relatively fair weather for Christmas Day. Look at these high temperatures, double digits on Wednesday, and Christmas Day, high near 7 degrees with some sunshine.
All right, so the mild weather continues. It comes back into next week. And Doug, white Christmas, what are the chances?
0.
0. You heard it from the doctor. All right, here's your local. Well, have you been hearing about snow in the GTA? Well, you've come to the right spot because we're going to be breaking down all of these details. The snow squalls did this to Elliott Lake, Ontario yesterday, and snow squalls are certainly in the forecast today. This here is a look at the morning headlines. I'm Rachel Schoutsen. Kevin Yard is on the outside. We're talking about the squall setup, the cold weekend ahead, and of course, it's the countdown to Christmas. Kevin, in a week's time, it will be Christmas morning, and the weather will feel a lot different into next week. Next week, we're calling for mild conditions and rain, but today, a little taste of winter, some of the coldest air we've seen yet this season. All right, Kevin, Don, thanks for that. And as we look here at the snow squall watches and warnings, well, they certainly are in place. And as we focus in on Georgian Bay, the Bruce Peninsula area, the watches are here and snow squalls are certainly firing up. We have these westerly winds. As the winds travel across the relatively warm Great Lakes, it creates a cloud and then that cloud snows out. So places like Highway 400, Highway 11, be prepared for treacherous travel today. Oh, winter is certainly going to come to Blue Mountain, and we could see it this weekend with the snow squalls. We could even see winter starting to fire up today, and we're going to have all those details ahead here at the Weather Network. But first, it's Friday. This time next week, it'll be Christmas Day. So let's talk about some weekend plans here to get you into the spirit. We have Santa Fest going on in Bracebridge. Have you been to Santa's Village in Bracebridge? A great place to be, but I want to warn you, if you are headed to this event this weekend, kicks off December the 19th, snow squalls may be greeting you on your route, especially up the 400 and Highway 11. We are very likely to see them today and into Saturday, so just a heads up on this one. Now, it's reindeer weekend in Burlington. Less snow here, of course, but Santa's reindeer, yeah, they're taking the weekend off. They're headed to the Royal Botanical Gardens, so also a great event to check out. And also Riverside Park in Guelph. Sparkles in the park. You will have to dress for the elements for this one. It's a nighttime event. Beautiful scenes like this one here, but it's going to be cold. Yeah, we're looking at the wind chill coming back into play this weekend. Now, before I leave you here, I want to talk about the snow squalls, because snow squalls are certainly going to be an issue today. We have watches and warnings in place up through the eastern shores of Superior and Georgian Bay, and it is likely that we could see through Friday and Saturday some of these snow squalls head into the GTA. We're not going to be talking about accumulating snow, but for the rush hour drive home tonight, only 2 degrees in the city of Toronto, enough to see some slippery road conditions. Now, your local forecast.